Steve, we are joined tonight by the man making us very well known in the cheesesteak community right now.
Got to be
The
well known
other
in some community, baby.
Hey, it works for us. It works for us. Pat of the We Are In. How are you, Pat? Good to
pretty
see
good.
you.
The other, not the Pat's cheesesteak guy that bailed out on the challenge to come to State College and compete with us.
We like those. We
Nice.
like these cheesesteaks from this Pat better than that other Pat. That's not even a top three cheesesteak in Philly for me. So we'll leave that for a later
Yeah,
point.
throwing down some stuff now.
Already making people angry, Steve. That's that I'm good at that. Pat, I guess let's begin with this. I think what we want to focus with you tonight is both you are, a fan of Penn State, obviously, both by the hat and everything that you do, the name of your business, everything behind you in your business. But I think also you're a business in State College, and it really relies on football weekends, especially, having a motel component to your business. How important is Penn State football to a local business owner like you?
And well, Penn State is and has always been huge to the growth of the Center County region. You can't put enough emphasis on what they've done over the years because we all survive and grow with the school. It's like the rooms and stuff like that. A lot of people get angry because the prices go up, but during game weekends and things like that, Arts Fest, that's really where you make your money. The rest of it, it's not like you're booked up all year long. There's probably 15 great events that are being held, and that's where you can really do it. But it's just been, and this Penn State community is its own thing. Even you don't have to have gone to Penn State, just living around in Pennsylvania and wearing your blue and white and being a blue collar type of person is really something that we wear. They're pretty close to the chest there.
I guess for those that aren't familiar with the We Are In, what is the story? I feel like, and I said this when we talked about your cheesesteaks, that I keep hearing about it, and people keep telling me that I gotta go there, gotta have their food, gotta check this place out. And I finally had the food, and let me tell you what, as I mentioned, you're not charging enough for those cheesesteaks. You could charge me $100, and I would gladly pay that. But what is the We Are In story, I guess, so to speak?
So basically, there's this building that's been empty in Phillipsburg. It was there empty for like 17 years, and I'm driving by all the time. And then we have a really nice tailgate that we used to have. I was a general contractor, and people at the tailgate are just like, we need places to stay. We need place to stay. So I would let people stay in my hunting camp, and then they would stay in our RV. And at one point, I said to my wife, maybe we should probably get this place because maybe these people will rent rooms and stop sleeping all over our property. And she packaged that up with, well, will you get all your memorabilia out of the house too? And then I'm all in. And she went all in once I said I'll get my friends and my stuff out.
So did everything get out? The memorabilia's out, and the friends are staying at the inn too, or nobody's staying at your house?
Yeah, it's. She said you're only doing this as a hobby and for fun, and it turned into where we folded up the general contracting business. And we're now doing this, and it's become, what we do for a living. The cooking thing, I'll never forget. There was a guy, Bees Bonner. He's a big Penn State guy. He was sitting out on the patio the one day when we first opened. He said, how long have you been a chef? And I looked at my watch, and I was like, 2 days and 4 hours. And he started laughing, and I was like, no, I'm serious. And he said, well, you probably owned a restaurant. I was like, no, I cooked with my grandmother and my mom, and state stuff in Philly, which that's a whole different thing, But to come bringing that Philly flavor around, that's a whole different thing. Center County, I've been coming here my whole life, and when people used to say, "Go get a cheesesteak," oh, you got to try this one, you got to try that one. It's just not the same. The understanding and expectation is different than Philadelphia. You make a sandwich like that in Philly, they might come with pitchforks, and you're done.
So when you talked about the end, how do the cheesesteaks end up in the stadium? Like, do you approach them? Do they approach you? Like, and there's a lot more small businesses in there this year as they've changed things. So what did that process look like from your side?
So I know some of the logic behind it from some backdoor stuff that I don't want to say backdoor because it sounds like I'm involved in something, but I'm on a thing called the Fan Council, and my next meeting is my last after 5 years. And in my 5 years there, we've tried to explore different ways of getting people into the stands faster. And my first thing at every meeting was always beer. If you have beer, people are going to go inside, so they're not sitting there trying to drink that last 3 beers right before kickoff and then run in, and then there's a log jam at the gates. I said, so once we got the beer, I was like, well, food, because especially on a noon game, people might not want to hang around outside. They'd like to get in a little earlier, but they're trying to eat something besides what they have in the stadium. And I think the group, for 5 years of pounding that, finally got through to where they decided, hey, look, let's start getting some of these offerings together, especially when they're going to be doing all these renovations on the one side. I envision, and I don't know this for any certainty, but I see them put like some sort of a food court, and I think they're testing the waters right now. We did a thing in the spring. I don't know if you guys heard about this one, but we did a cheesesteak eating contest where we made 2 6-foot cheesesteaks that weighed 18 pounds each. We had 4 of the offensive linemen and 4 of the defensive linemen. Each team got a cheesesteak, 18 pounds. So I will say that the defense won, but we also brought in Blair Thomas, was the coach for the offensive side, and Justin King coached the defensive side. I was the ref. Graham Spaniard did the coin toss. We raised money for Special Olympics, and it was just a really, really good time. And at that point, the players were saying different things, and I had done some NIL stuff with food for the players, and now we cater at Lash for the football team. So it was probably a natural step for us to go into the stadium. They want to really have local flavors. Kevin, Eric, and Tyler are heading this thing up, and they're really doing a great job at looking for local flavors to make it more of a personal thing in the county, instead of just bringing in a ton of people from outside. And I think it's really working nicely.
You've been a Penn State fan for, I would assume, all of your life, judging by the memorabilia. What was it like the first time you saw your business name inside Beaver Stadium?
Oh, wow. Oh, man. Well, the only thing is I wanted to change it and call it We Are in Beaver Stadium instead of Phillipsburg, but that's probably a little much to try to do. It's amazing. It really, people are like, how did you do it? How did you do that? How did you do it? I'm just like, they called up and said, hey, what do you want to do? And I'm like, all right, what do you need me to do? And we're like, all right, well, let's do it. And here we are. First year, there's things, because here's the biggest thing, Darian, Steve, when you were going into there and you're in an undiscovered country, okay, and you're trying to guesstimate what you're going to do, and my team, they're younger than I am. And they're sitting there like, well, the 7:30 West Virginia game, so now we know what to do for the Iowa game. Iowa game's a whiteout. Same time, Iowa game's also a Big Ten game. Iowa game's also going to be cold and rainy, So all these different factors, like the Delaware game's a noon game. It's not going to be the same as a Michigan noon game in November. So, we got to keep playing things by ear. And the challenge, I give a lot of credit to my team. They're amazing with keeping up with the demand and being able to know when to cut off a little bit, because it's looking like, all right, hey, we're up by 30 points. Now people are going to start leaving because they want to beat the traffic. But the challenges in there are rough. And I don't envy any of the other stands and what they're trying to do to accomplish their goals.
How have your game plans been? Sorry, Dan. How have you, like, if you evaluate your game plans for the first half of the season, right? Forget the on-field stuff. How have you done, do you think, through the first half of the season?
We've done as well as expected. The only thing where we had a glitch, so we're in the student section, but we can't cook up there. All our cooking happens in the Northwest section. So we throw all these steaks up and put them in a warmer, and we run them up there. And the Delaware game, we kind of dropped the ball because we went down the north side, the west side, and you get down there and the passway was blocked off because of the team coming out for halftime. I think they block it off like for 15 minutes because some of the kids leave early. We got held up, and there was a 32-minute period where we didn't sell a cheesesteak coming into halftime and in the beginning of halftime. But you learn from that, because now I go back, we have a meeting. It's like, hey, let's don't ever go that way again. We go this way. It's only an extra 20 steps, but take the extra 20 steps around. So, yeah.
I know Dan's got a question, but I got to follow that up. Italian family on the other side. Is that how you said it to everybody that day? Like, were those the words? Don't ever do that. Like, it just felt like it might have come with a little more emotion. I'm not sure.
There was definitely some passion and some emotion. At the same time, I respect them because my staff really just we're in the stadium. They're proud to be in there, and they love it. They absolutely love it. So they're not doing anything purposely. Everything they do, they just want to really shine.
Okay, cool. Go ahead, Dan. Sorry, cut you off twice.
No, you're good. You're good, Steve. Pat, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I do want to know, what is the secret to your cheesesteaks? Why are they so good? Why am I ranting and raving about them, telling every single person I know to eat these cheesesteaks?
Because back in Philadelphia, I grew up in Overbrook section, and we had some really good cheesesteak spots. And like we said earlier, there's some of the places are tourist areas. I was all over the city. I was an inspector in Philly on HUD houses and single family and multifamily homes. I was all over the city, and I had steaks everywhere. But there was never one that stacked up to the original Jim steaks, not the one on South Street, not the other ones, the original Jim's. There was a woman in there, Evelyn, who you walked in. She knew if there was 200 people in line, she remembered you if you were only there once before, what you wanted. And I think they used to use lard. The only thing I don't do, because you can't do that anymore. But our rolls come from down there. We use ribeye. We use original Cheese Whiz in the stadium, but we also will put American, Cooper Sharp, all the different cheeses, whatever anybody wants. Jen likes provolone, so we have to make sure we have everything as far as the cheeses go. But the roll makes the sandwich. If you don't have the right roll, you can't make a good cheesesteak. You can't make a good Italian hoagie. But once you have the roll, you're at 80% there. Then it's up to you to really put it over the top.
That was honestly, that was the most surprising part of when I bit into that cheesesteak, was how fresh the bread was. Because I think, we all have been to stadiums before where it feels like it's been sitting out for 10 hours type thing. So I do appreciate that you can tell you're using local ingredients, good ingredients. So I got to ask, Pat, what is your cheesesteak order? What are you ordering on cheesesteak?
We actually have one called the Chef Pat's Way. It's got whiz and American, because I can't make up my mind. It's got fried onions and mushrooms. It's got hot cherry peppers and ketchup.
Oh, all right. And I respect that.
With the ketchup thing, when I was growing up in Philly and we were making sandwiches in shops, 4 out of 5 had ketchup on them, and people are like, "Oh, would you go into a steak shop and like a Longhorn or something and put ketchup on?" I'm like, "No, but I'm not gonna put cheese on it and jam it in a roll either. It's on my plate. I'm gonna eat it like that." But if you like a burger and you like ketchup, there's nothing wrong with putting it on a cheesesteak. It's delicious. Pairs well.
All right. Pat, I don't want to keep you too much longer. This is your moment to plug. What would you like to plug here and say?
Well, I will say this. Our cheesesteak sales are only probably 8 to 10% of our business, because we have surf and turf. We have a lot of Italian dishes. We have a lot of really good stuff that was cooked in my family from back as far as I can remember. And it's really worth giving it a try. People come over, aren't disappointed. And I might have an announcement for you guys later on, and I'll call you and we'll come back on and do it, because we're looking for college.
All right. Let us know.
They told us, everybody told me about the Alfredo sauce and it's good, but the red sauce is what tastes like grandma's. I mean, yes. it's we haven't been disappointed by anything we've gotten there. So I'm curious, construction or chefing, which is harder, or
it's two totally different things. But for me, I loved cooking so much growing up that I came from a neighborhood where there were a lot of guys that became chefs and had their own restaurants and stuff. And my thing was that I never wanted to put a price tag on the thing that I really loved and was very therapeutic for me at times in my life, because I just felt like that it would lose its luster for me, but it hasn't. Because when people come in and people are happy and people are saying good things, they're leaving smiling. They're saying, "Hey, I never had a blackened salmon like that, and I was down in New Orleans getting it. Your Maryland crab cake is better than anything in Maryland. We should be ashamed of ourselves." All these things, when people are saying that, it makes all of it worth it. And you go back and tell your guys and girls in the kitchen, and they're all just like, it's a really good climate to work in.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, Pat, thank you very much for joining us. We are up in Phillipsburg, but also, as you mentioned, 2 stadium locations, one behind the student section and one kind of down in my corner, which is NA and B area. Be sure to check them out.
See you soon.